Okay, let's see. All right, we're starting off strong with a wonky camera. Hi, guys. Welcome to the live stream. Let's see what's going on here. Something is definitely up with my camera. Let's see what she's doing over here. She's not in the mood. Oh no. This was happening last time, I think. Hi, guys. Today we're going to do a little bit of a drawing, but I can see my camera's acting a little funny. Let's try something else. See if it kind of pops back up. Hi, Liz. How are you? Let me try again because my camera's acting a little funny. Let's see. Come on, camera. Wake up. Nope. She's a little funky. How's it going? Let me see if I can troubleshoot this guy. Let me see. We'll try again. Okay, camera's a little groggy. I'm going to try and see if I can get her to come back to life. I don't know. I feel like it's something funny is happening here. Oh, she's definitely dead, which is wild because it was just on. Hold on a sec. Let's see if we can get her back up and running. You always have issues with autofocus? Well, I think it's because my camera looks like she's dead. Hold on. And then it seems like it kind of like froze in the middle of, because you can see like I'm not moving, but my camera is acting funky. How's your week going, Liz? What are you doing? What are you up to? Have you been drawing? Have you been working? I saw you were streaming the other day and I was at work and was sad because I couldn't join. Let me see if I can tweak this while we're here. Ugh. So I can get this going. Yeah, I'm curious. What kind of camera do you use? Because I just use like an iPhone. But, you know, I don't know. Like regularly, I mean, usually I don't have any issues. Hi, Melemony. Oh my gosh, it's so nice to see you. I saw you were streaming the other day too. You have a very active stream though, Mel. Let me see. My camera's acting funky, so I'm gonna give her a minute and see if she'll come back. And I was hoping to do a little bit of drawing today. I already have my picture up there. I was thinking I saw somebody who had like a really cool oh, I forgot it's birthday of Palooza in your family. Just relaxing and baking stuff. Oh, that's so nice. How awesome. Yes, I love that, Mel. That's awesome though. That's the dream, right? Let me see if I can get my camera going. So I don't know, she looks like she's figuring it out. I might have to stop and start again. You have a next to go for my top-down camera. Let me see if I can start this one all over again. Maybe I can get it to wake up. Mine is my Android phone for my front-facing. Oh, gotcha. I'm just using like an old iPhone that I have for my top-down camera. And then I use my webcam. Let me see if I can get this one to reboot. Sometimes I have to like close my streaming platform and then start again. But I really don't want to do that because you all are already here. Let me see. I'm going to try something else. Oh, we are having some technical difficulties today. I don't know how to like really turn it off and then turn it back on. Oh, see, there she is. Maybe she'll come back. She's just turning on, which is really weird. Unplug and plug, right? I know. It's so true. They always tell us that at work, like, believe it or not, but like unplug it or like restart the computer and it works. Go figure. Who knew? There's some truth to it, right? Okay, let's see if she pops up. She's on again. Apparently she turned off. I think I had a turn it off. Let's see. Yes, connect, girl. Let's go. Let's see if it happens. There she goes. I think she's going to turn on any minute now. There she is. She's alive. Right on. Okay. Hallelujah. Unplug and plug. It's so true. Turn it off. Turn it back on. It comes up right. You just never know. I mean, it just does it, right? All right. Awesome. You'll come back, Jason Olives. Thank you so much. Okay, so I got everything up and running. Hallelujah, we got it working. So we can do a little bit of drawing. I have been kind of like just wanting to do something really like classic, you know. This is going to remind me a little bit of like, you know, just drawing, just doodling all over the page and seeing what comes of it, what goes where. I have some acrylic markers that I just got a while back. So I'm going to be using these. There's a lot of colors, but I love a limited color palette. So I'm probably just going to pick a few and try to stick with that because that usually works really well for me. But, you know, use whatever medias you feel like using today. I just want to keep it really chill, really easy. I don't want to think too much. And I did pick out a bunch of images, all garden inspired because that's kind of our vibe this month. So I have some pictures for you to look at. You can definitely find them on Patreon and you can like, you know, zoom in, get close, things like that. But I will have a little tiny image up here on the top for you to view if you want to draw along with me. Yes, me too. I'm really glad that we don't have to start again, Chasen. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. Thank you for being here to, you know, keep me company. Let's draw together. Okay, so I'm going to do something that I don't usually do. I don't usually do a little bit of sketching, but I kind of want to, you know, come up with a plan for what I want to put where. And I can toggle between all of these images and you can too. Feel free to draw the things that you want to. These are the images right here. And I was going to go in order, but I really want to start with the radishes, which is really no surprise. That's my favorite. And I feel like the shape of it is really interesting and like fun to play with. So I think I'm going to start with that one, but I'm just showing you all the images we have here. So if you need to see them, you know, you can find them all posted on Patreon and it is a free open post. So you can see the pictures up close and whoops, not that one. And then you can draw whichever one you like in whichever order you like. But I'm going to start with the radishes. Sorry, I forgot to close these. My bad. Let's get those closed. And then we'll start with the radishes. I don't remember where they were. They're there. And I'm going to start drawing this one. I'm going to figure out where I want to put it. And then I'm going to come in with my markers. But, you know, I'm going to be doing a pretty traditional like sketchbook spread. I'm going to work on the 2 pages. It's a pretty small sketchbook. It's like a cheap sketchbook that I got like at Michael's, so nothing fancy. I've just had it and I wanted to use it for just like doodles or, you know, whatever, like nothing too serious. So this is gonna be just like the perfect space. Mine is actually it has like a dot grid, so there are some like little marks here, but I personally love a dot grid. I love the guidance. It's kind of nice to see that. So I'm gonna start by kind of giving myself like a little plan. I do want some little vignettes, so I'm going to kind of give myself some boxes to draw within, and I'll just kind of lightly mark where I want things to go, and everything's flexible. Nothing has to be like set in stone. So I will do, I'll kind of, you know, make changes if I need to as I go, if that's something that kind of pops up. So, oh, I hear an Amber Alert. Apologies, there's an Amber Alert and it's on my phone. I guess we found the downside of using your phone for this. You get an alert on your phone unexpectedly in the middle of it, but I don't know if you guys could hear that. I don't think so, but maybe if you were able to hear it, that's what that was. Don't be alarmed. Okay, so just a quick little sketch kind of gives me an idea of where things are going to go. Feel free to approach this in the way that you like. I was thinking about using a timer just to kind of guide myself, but I'm just going to be loosey-goosey, right? We're just going to chill. It's not too loud, so you could hear it, like lightly in the back. Okay, so I'm just going to block them in. I just want to do something like fun. I even want to kind of do like just doodles. I thought about maybe just using like a pen and seeing where that would go. I think I drew too big here. So I might shrink it a little. You can see it's very, very light. It's not very easy to see, but I'm probably going to start with my radishes there. I have this little basket of beans, which I thought would be really pretty to draw too. So I'm going to show you that one. And then this one I figure I could go horizontal, which would be nice. It's a nice change of shape and of direction. And I can kind of just sketch them in here. There's some that have patterns, which I think are always very fun to draw. There's fabric, which I love to draw. And, you know, it just kind of adds to a difference in shape. So I'm going to kind of block in my beans here. Maybe some fabric there. There, okay. And then I also have, and I'm just scrolling through the Patreon posts so I can kind of pick and choose. I have those little tools and the wheelbarrow, which I thought would be really fun. The cabbage looks really pretty. I think that would be fun to do too. Maybe, let me do I think we need something with a shape that's a little different. So I'll go ahead and do the wheelbarrow, which I think would be fun to do here. So we'll put like a little rough sketch just to kind of block in about the size and the shape here. And I do like sometimes for them to like overlap each other. So I'm gonna try to get them to connect in some way. I know it's a little hard to see right now. We will get some marker on here soon. So I'm gonna start with marker. I kind of have an idea of where things are gonna go. And of course I can adjust, but I do like to put in like a couple of big shapes to begin with. It just helps me to, you know, kind of break up the space. And I do want some, I think I'm going to use like, really want to do something with these radishes with the pinks and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and start with pink, and I'll probably use red, and I will use maybe some greens as well. I'm going to try to make them a little smaller than what I originally had. I'm used to drawing pretty big, so this will definitely be a challenge for me to draw small. I definitely struggle with that. So it's always fun to practice. It's like little balloons. There we go. And so I like to keep my markers to the side when I start to use them and I start to figure out my palette. I will put them down and keep them available to me. That way I know which colors I'm using, and at some point I start to realize, wow, I have a lot of color, so I have to kind of stop bringing in new colors. Sometimes if the colors are really similar, I just consider them to be one color. Like, you know, oh, I use pink. So even though I have two pinks right now, it's just pink. But we're going to see if I can really keep it limited. I just love a limited palette. So I always feel like it makes my like something simple like this, like a sketchbook spread, feel like, you know, a little more sophisticated. It's got like some intention. It feels like I meant to do it. So I'm going to do something like that. This is the second color I'm using, so I'm going to put that down in my little swatches. I do think that I need maybe like a third one, something dark. The only problem is that I haven't really swatched all these markers, so I'm not totally sure what we're dealing with. See, like that looks dark, but then it wasn't dark at all. I put that one back. I think I need something red. And although there's a lot of markers in here, they're not like super, I don't know. I feel like I don't have enough range still. I don't know. How do you all feel about acrylic markers? Are you all using, anybody using acrylic markers today? And if so, what kind do you use? Which are your favorites? Which are you liking right now? I remember back in the day when we were all just using Posca, remember? And that was like, really, those were like the most popular acrylic markers. And now there's just so many different types. So many brands, like cheap. These are relatively cheap, so it was just a little like fun purchase. But I do love acrylic markers. I just love, the versatility. They're so easy to use, and they are really easy to, correct when you make some little mistakes. Okay. Definitely keep the red in there. That's a good color to include. The Sharpie ones too, right? I've seen them, but I've never used them. The Just Art. I have seen, we were talking about the Just Art ones, which I think they're the ones that look kind of like a pen, right? Those, I think we talked about that. Liz and I were talking about that because they were really, really like affordable. And I thought, wow, I had heard good things about it. And we were talking about how they're probably all made by the same like factory or whatever. And they just have different brands because they look like I remember which ones they were. I know Liz will know. But they were the markers that have that like pen shape. I don't know. I don't remember what they're called, but I know those are popular too. Let's see. I like this. So I'm just going to mark them. Super affordable. I haven't tried them yet, but I was thinking about getting some for the classroom, for my classroom. I'm using the ones in front of me. So Artistro, you don't love them, but they are here. I might mix them with Poscas. Yeah, my Just Art just got hijacked by your daughter. Nice. She saw something she wanted. Okay, I'm going to use a couple of greens here. We'll see how many we need to include. It does seem like there could be the possibility of quite a few, but I'm going to try to keep it limited. And I'm going to be loose with this. I don't know, I just want to play with these. So let me put this one down too, so I don't forget. We did that zine the other day, and I really love the color palette from that one. And I kept those markers out because I was like, I'm going to finish this, and I just want to keep them handy. And then I still hadn't done it. But I was using those markers for just about everything. They were just like, I loved that color palette. It was like blue and like a grayish blue, like desaturated blues, and then like browns and like tans, and they just looked so good together, I thought, personally. Let's add another green in here, maybe something kind of on the yellow. I have not used this color, so we shall see how this goes. Oh, okay. That works. The two versions. Oh, yeah, the Karen markers. Those are the ones I was talking about. The brush tip. Let's see. I'm using the ones. Okay, so the brush tip seems better than the double-sided. Yeah, I think that maybe like you get more use out of it if it's just like one side. I don't know. But I do love a brush tip. Like, I bought these recently because I wanted to use them in my planner, and so I wanted something a little bit like with a finer tip, and so these have the brush on one end and the fine tip on the other. I don't really love the fine tip, and it doesn't get a lot of use for me, but it's not as fine as I thought it would be, so it doesn't get as much use as I thought I would. But I do love acrylic markers for my planner, for my journal. I think it works really well with them. So I definitely love having them for that purpose. And I'm going to let it crop on the edges when it reaches the edge. I love to kind of just like let it spill off the edge. I think that's always a good thing. Let's see if we can. And the other good thing is that you can kind of stack and layer, so that's super fun. So we've been talking a little bit about starting gardens or how our gardens are going, and I haven't started mine yet, but I'm hoping to do that this weekend. Right now, I'm trying to figure out what kind of tree to plant because I want to plant a tree. I have a space in my yard. I'd like to get some shade in about, 10 years. So I was thinking about planting a tree, and I'm trying to figure out which kind of tree to plant for our zone. And, preferably something kind of like native would be nice. But I haven't picked anything yet, so we'll see what we decide on. Let me just put some little lines in here. We can stack these up, which I love. Right here. These little ruffly edges are really cute. Yeah, I don't think I've seen like the Karen markers like have in a big set or anything, but I have seen like individuals, and I do kind of remember them being like a little bit like they're a little bit on the pricier side, I think, right? Like they are like a few bucks for each for just one, maybe like $3 or $4, I think. You got your beds topped up with soil and a few flowers in. Oh, how cute. You have a frost warning today. So you have to cover them all up with sheets and towels. Oof. Wow. I can't even imagine. I need to definitely like visit colder regions because I can't even imagine that there's still a frost warning this late in the year, which is wild to me, but that's because I'm in Texas, so everything is hot and to our detriment, actually. It's very, very hot all the time. I think I'm going to be a little bit, I'm going to take some liberties with this and remove some of these leaves because it's looking like a lot of them and I don't want to draw them all, so I'm going to do that. I do feel like I need a darker green though to like really kind of build up. Oh, see, that's the fine tip and yuck. I don't like it. I just don't like it. That way I can build in some like of those dark values. Maybe we could try stacking some of the red. That might do it. Let's try. Let's put some red down here in this little gap. We'll see what happens. Here, let's put some, I see some like right here. Like I don't see red, I see black. I see something dark. So I'm going to try to make shadows just by stacking the red with the green. We will see if we're able to make something that looks kind of dark. Let's stack it with this one and see how it looks. Okay, it's doing something. I don't know if it's doing what I want. I think I'm going to need something even darker, something like blue. Let me do one of these dark blues right here. I need something really nice and dark, and I'll just stack that right on top. Just want to create some depth, make it feel like there's some layers and there's some shadows there. Here, a little bit more in there. Here. Okay, I'm going to stop with that part there. I feel like I could definitely use some of that also in the on the radishes, so I'll probably add some of that there. Just reminding everyone that these are leaves, so I'm going to add a few little lines here. It's kind of nice to leave them like really vague. I like that idea too. And I'll do a little bit of this blue between the radishes too, to really kind of push that shadow between them. Hopefully that'll do the trick. Okay. I think it'll be okay. Okay. Got those little radishes, and I do, oh, I think I didn't put this blue on here. Let's add that in. This is our dark. So right now I have 7 colors. Perfect. Okay. I got them all documented, right? I think I want to add one more, another color. I'm going to use this, something bright and light. Try something bluish because I want it to do sort of like a little box around the radishes, little vignette, little, I don't know what you would call this. And make it a little short so that those little tails of the radish can pop out. I like that. Break up that space a little. And the pink and the blue just look so good next to each other, I think. I think the green is a nice touch too. I'll stop that one right there. These markers are just so, like, they're very efficient, like acrylic markers. Very efficient. They save time. Like, they're just like really great at like filling spaces quickly and covering up mistakes easily. Like, you get a lot of support from them. There, okay. Maybe I'll kind of close off the box here just to imply it a little bit. A little tricky to make sure I get that right, but I have that little guide in the back there. Okay. So I love that. It's a little loose, and I do think like later on maybe I will, you know, just clean it up a little bit more when everything's nice and dry so there's no pencil-y scraps. But I'm going to move over to the beans. Oh, I've had the beans up the whole time. I'm so sorry. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't realize that the beans were right there. So now I'm going to stick with the same colors just to make sure that everything feels really, you know, connected. And that was, I think that was the fastest I've drawn in a long time. So I think we're on the up and up here. Okay, we're going to try to use the same colors. A lot of them seem like they could be served by this kind of greenish color that I have here. So we're going to just see what we can do with it. I do love those little like purpley streaks on them. Let's see. I'm going to try to enhance some of that, like really make that kind of evident. So I do feel like these fun shapes can be really like, you know, cute and fun to draw, but they could be a little like hard to interpret if we're not careful. So I'm going to try to make them look beanish some way, shape, form. Let's just add a bunch of lines here. I do also feel like it can be a little challenging to make these look, thank you so much, to make these look like they're not just like a bunch of sticks, you know, kind of just stacked up. So what I'm going to try to do is I am going to start them as a bunch of sticks, even though it seems like that might not be the right way. But then I'm going to try to build in some lights and some darks, especially between them, so it feels like there's some sort of like depth there. We'll see. We'll see how they turn out. I think these markers give us the freedom to work really quickly. Let's see. Sarah says, I'm going to try some later. Any advice? I have a limited number of acrylic markers. That's perfect, actually. I feel like what I always suggest, Sarah, is that you have a light, a medium, and a dark color. So even if they're not the colors that you're looking at on your image, on your reference, I think I always try to translate and I try to think, okay, this is dark, this is like light. And what I'll try to do is I try to start with a color that's kind of in the middle, and I'll start with that. And then I'll use whatever's darker, even if it's like doesn't match. Like if I have this for the green beans, but then my dark is this blue, that's what I'm using for all the shadows. And then if I have like something light and I happen to have this, or I could use pink, it just depends on what you have available. But if you just have a few markers and you have a light one, a medium one, something that feels like it's in the medium value, and something that's kind of in the darker value, I feel like that serves me really well. And you should try that. Like you might be able to also like create like some really fun color combinations that are really unexpected. And I do that a lot with just lights, mediums, and darks, because I sometimes just want to have the colors that I'm seeing in my head, and I don't want to necessarily have to think about like, matching the colors that I'm seeing. Now, matching the colors that you're seeing is very cool too, and really hard to do, honestly. So, I mean, you could do that as well, and I think it would be amazing. But that's something that I would do if I was just working with a small number of colors. And I think you're gonna find that to be like a really fun challenge, or I find it to be a really fun challenge, where you just kind of figure out, well, where are my darks and where are my lights? And I do a lot of like scanning. Like I just kind of scan the picture with my eyes, and I try to look for all those darks. So I always tell my students that I'm a very lazy artist. So but I feel like I'm very efficient. I work quickly. So I'm scanning the picture, and once I have this dark marker out, like I'm looking for all the darks, and I put them all in at the same time instead of working on just this one section and putting the lights, mediums, and darks in that one little section. I scan the whole section, and I will put in all the darks that I see when that marker is uncapped and it's open. So that does make me kind of like it does make it so that I'm a little bit like fast, but I also, what I say is like usually I'm efficient. I just work I work quickly a lot of the times, and that's part of my system. And it's just, I think probably just the way like my brain works. Like I feel like my marker's out, like I'm looking for everything that I can do with this marker while it's there. Like now I feel like I have a light on there, I have a medium, and I have a dark, but it just doesn't feel like dark enough. So I can even take this blue, which I can see is for my little swatches, it is definitely darker. So I'm going to even put some of that like deep into these little empty spaces. And I'm hoping that'll read sort of like deep crevices. So let me grab this a little closer. You can kind of see that's what they look like right now. They are just little strips and strands, but they have a medium tone, they have a light, they have a dark, and then I'm coming in with something even darker. You don't have to worry about arting to slow, friends. Yeah, no, I mean, definitely not. I'm always the fast one. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. Like I struggle with doing things slow, and that was one of the things I had to do in my painting classes this past semester. Like I felt like I had to work a lot slower than I was accustomed to, and that was good for me, actually, to be very honest. Like I feel like I needed that. I need to like slow down and pay attention. Yes, thank you. I'm so glad that that's helpful. You need to go get those Just Market. Yes, go get them. Get the light blue. Yeah, I think that like it's really interesting because sometimes people will tell me about how they do their things, their drawings and stuff, and it's things that like I never would have thought of. And so kind of just, it can be things that are really, really simple. And it's really nice sometimes because I think we kind of like take for granted that there's like one way to do things, but you kind of learn that there's like everybody kind of has their own like methods. And I feel like that can be really, really fun to learn, even about the really specific, or like often like what might seem like unimportant kind of methods that people use. I want to know, like, how do you do it? Is that what you're doing too? Like, are you scanning the picture like I am whenever you have that color out? Or do you have like some people like to really work in just like one section at a time and really tackle everything about that section before they ever move on to another section? And I'm like a whole page, I'm like a whole page kind of person. I usually will like kind of work all the way around. But you know, we all work really different. So it's nice to know when there's like other methods. It's sometimes it really shakes the way I think about like, wow, I could try this or and to be very honest, like sometimes you know, literally never thought of it, you know. It just never crossed my mind. So it's something to always consider, you know. So I'm going to start like now I'm kind of like loosely looking at the image and there are fewer of these beans there. So I want to make sure that that I kind of like think about where the values are going to go just because there's not that many. So I feel like I have to be much more intentional about my mark making here. I do think it would be fun even if you weren't very intentional because you could just kind of have this very like painterly or expressive, you know, quality about it. That could be very fun to do as well. And just stacking them up here. I love that with the acrylics, we can just layer them and that creates like new colors also. And we do that, I do that a lot with my tombos as well. So I feel like you really can't go wrong with, wait, I see something I missed here. Just want to make sure I define that because I will lose that if I don't get it just marked in a little bit. So there's a lot of extra space here, so I'm going to kind of fill that in. There. We'll just place some yellows and then kind of want something that looks a little bit like brown, kind of dark. I'm going to take this darker green and see if I can bring in some of those darks from the bottom, make it look like there's more layers of beans underneath. And I'm just going to fill in some of those empty spaces. That might help create those like little crevices that I'm imagining. There. And it is kind of vague. So I might do just a little bit of like outline around a few of the beans just to like put that idea in the mind of the viewer. Like you're kind of implying it like, okay, this is a bean. And you don't have to like necessarily draw every single one out, but you can kind of hint it. Okay. We have a lot more beans here and they're kind of like the same color as the ones I have here on the side. So I want to be a little bit, I don't know. I'm going to try to figure out a way to approach them so that they have a little bit of contrast and they don't look exactly the same as the ones next to them. Obviously, these are going to not have the little stripies, but I'm going to see if I can find a way to define them and make them feel a little bit more individual. If I can. So I have that one. I'm going to try maybe it's a little, well, let me wait on that. I was going to do a little bit of that pink because I feel like I can build up like a sort of warm shade with a pink there, like the pink on top of the green might give me something a little bit more neutral, like perhaps it'll look a little bit like brown. We'll see. Let's try it. Let's just see what happens. You know, what's the worst that can happen? There we go. It's like I put it down, but it's not really working yet. Let's see. And it may well happen that it doesn't work. But I do think that the good thing about this is that you can, you know, keep building on top of it. So right now that pink's not really doing much, right? You can see. So maybe I'll try putting in a little bit more of this like mid-tone right on top of it. And hopefully we get a color that kind of looks a little bit distinct from the previous one. So it doesn't look like, it might just look like a slightly different shade of green. which would be a good thing, I think. I don't know. It's feeling a little all funny. It's not reading to me yet, so we will see. I don't know. Let's start putting in. I'm going to put a little bit of that like blanket around. Let's start with the pink. And hopefully that will kind of give us a little more context. I really don't know if that like blanket will give us the context we need, but I love to draw fabric, especially when it's all kind of like wobbly like that. Like I enjoy that. It's not always something easy for me to do, but can usually add quite a bit, even if it's like a little distorted and it doesn't look quite right. I think when you kind of break up the lines and you kind of move them in different directions, it helps us to understand what's happening. Let's see if we can make this look sort of like fabric. Just put some of this here. I'm gonna leave some of the paper white. It has that little baskety, the little bits of basket that kind of peek through, so I'll probably use some of that. Some of the blue to kind of imply that. Okay, but down here we have this like contrast right here, or the lack of contrast. It's gonna overlap and it's going to blend together, so I might incorporate something else right there just to tie it together. Tie the color together, but separate, like tie this together, but separate these two right here is what I'm trying to say. Okay, right there. So that looks a little funny. I'll use this darker blue as well over here. Help to create some of those little gaps there, little spaces. Make it feel like it goes deep. Probably some in here too. Very nice. Like that little bean right there. And there's another one right here, so I'll just really define that one. Make it feel kind of like these. It gives us a little bit more information and helps us to understand what we're really looking at here. There we go. Okay, and I might use this a little bit on the edges of this little blanket or whatever dish towel, just to tell us what it is. This could be a good place to define the edge there. There we go. Put some of that dark right here. I think I'm going to put some right here up against the beans. Trying to make it seem like they're in this basket. And then I need something to kind of show me that basket. So let me see. I'm going to use something that's not used because it's so different. I'm going to use the pink. So the pink is not, that's not the color of the basket, but I think it's a good like option because I haven't really used it in this part right here. And so it'll help me to distinguish between that and like the dish towel, the fabric part. Okay, right there. I think I might make mine a little bit smaller. I don't want it to go that big. probably stop right there. Maybe a little bit of the red to give a little texture. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop with that one. This is still a little funny here, but I might come back there if I feel like I need to, or I can define that. It just looks like a bunch of little yellow stringy things. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to keep going. I have that little wheelbarrow. So I want to draw that one, and I think that will be a fun draw. Let's find the wheelbarrow. We'll put him up there. There he is. Okay, wheelbarrow can be easy or can be deceptively tricky. It doesn't have a light enough color, but oh yeah. And how do you feel about the colors? Do you feel like what's really bothering me about these? Like the colors just don't match. Like this one's okay, but like there's a lot of them that really don't match. And I feel like, they're not taking enough time to really get those colors to match for us. Like sometimes you pull that out and you're like, this is going to be the best color for this. And it looks totally different. And that really irks me. Maybe that's just a me thing. Okay, we got this light blue here. So I put the wheel in. I'm starting with that wheel and I have it overlapping the beans a little bit. But I think that that's going to be a good place for me to start, like the anchor here. Because everything else is kind of based on that. And I feel like if I started with the wire, I really want to do the wire. But I feel like it would be it would be too easy to get it wrong. Like all of the space will get kind of like weird and I could go in the wrong direction. So I'm going to try my best to use that wheel for context and to kind of build off of that. So I can see that at the bottom here where the wiry thing, I don't know what that is, but whatever that is, it's like goes a little bit lower than the wheel. So I can use that for reference. And then this goes diagonal, slight change, and then we have the little handles. Okay. So I'll just put the handle in with this right here. There. And then we have another handle slightly higher. There we go. Let's hope I get this one in the right place because that could go awry as well. Okay, I'm going to do the lighter green for the bucket and this darker green for the feet, where the back wheels would be if it was a tricycle. Yeah, exactly. Are they called the feet? Let's see, wait. I definitely don't like it when it's off from the marker to the, oh yeah, that really bugs me. Yeah, I feel like the parts of the wheelbarrow are not something I'm that familiar with, but I usually say it's like, I just call the whole thing wheelbarrow. I have a yellow wheelbarrow, and the most action it gets is like, sometimes I used to put my dog in there and bathe her in there. So I wouldn't have to bring her inside, but yeah, our wheelbarrow hasn't had a lot of action lately. Oh, see, look how close we are right there. Legs, right? Let's call them legs. Why not? The legs. I agree with that. Let's go. I'm going to start with this green right here. Oh, I think I had meant to do that one there. Dang. That's okay. I'm going to put the lighter one on the inside just to give it a little, maybe hint at its depth. Let's see. We'll see what happens when we fill that space in. I'm being very loose with it. This is where I would have wanted to put the wheel. Oh, and there is another little foot, let's say, back here. It's in shadow, so I'll probably use my other blue for that one. Very nice. Okay. Now, it doesn't look like much right now, so I'm going to try to build it a little bit more. So let me do a little bit of this pink. I'm going to use the pink on top of the blue for the shadow. Little weird, but I think it's a good option because it's not too dark and it'll just create a little bit of an edge. I do feel like I need to bring that down a little. Put that there. I'm going to put it anywhere I see the dark on that part. And for the handles, make them a little bit bigger right there. I'll use the red to help me kind of define some of the shadow on that. Like that. And I'm going to go ahead and use that same color on the bottom of the wheel too. Might as well, so it feels like that color is going to work for anything that's the lightest one. And that little wheel looks kind of funny in there. Let's see, wait. Oh, you have all but one thing to start building pottery. Oh, nice. How are you going to build your clay trap? I don't have a clay trap, and I think I need something like that. What I do in my classroom is I just we use basins to clean our, clay tools in our hands. And then after we've caught all the excess clay, we just use regular soap and water in a different sink. But I've seen them, and when I didn't know anything about that, and then I took a pottery class at the university here, and they had I couldn't understand what their system was like, and I just knew that they had a bunch of basins that they were catching, you were basically rinsing your hands in this, yeah, buckets of water. And then I'm assuming they had some sort of a trap at the bottom, but I never really saw it or investigated it. But I really wish I would have, because I don't understand really what to do for something like that. And I do think it's something that I have to, we don't do that much clay in my classroom. We're doing it right now, and we're building these little boxes, which are super cool. I think they're very cool. But we don't always do it, so it's not a main priority for me. But it would be nice to have a good system in place. I always have to be very I'm watching everybody like a hawk during pottery time, making sure that they're not throwing clay down the sink and stuff like that. Yeah, right. It's kind of basically a bucket underneath that the pipes will drain into, and then it'll somehow or it's gonna catch it. It's gonna the clay will fall, and it creates sediment or something. I don't fully understand, but I know it separates, so it shouldn't be that hard to do theoretically. But what do I know? I know very little about this. Okay, let me take some of these lines off because they're looking a little nutty. See, and when I did that, I kind of lost the edge of my wheel, so that is good to know. I feel like I need to see that sometimes, and I won't see it until I start removing things. So I don't know. That turned out really weird. Oh, there's something else there that I see. Just now seeing this little thing, something here. I had not noticed that. Personally, I don't really know what that is, but I'm just going to leave it there. I'm going to be I'll pretend I know what that was. Okay. It's meh. Pottery for the people on YouTube. Yes, I've seen that. Enclosed box system, but it feels like it might be too big for me to start with. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, and my scale is very small, so I don't feel like I'm really needing to have too much, but it is something what I've done in the past is I've reclaimed the excess clay, and I make slip out of it and stuff like that. Okay, I'm gonna draw these little I don't know what those things are called. What are they? Not pliers. What are they called? Pruning shears. I'm going to put that here because, we have the space. Although, wait, do I have, oh, I have all those vegetables. Maybe I should put those vegetables in here because that would be more fun to draw. That's what I'm going to do. We're drawing the vegetables. So I'm going to start with, maybe not, I might not draw them all. I'm just going to consider how I'm going to use this space. So I'm going to draw that bell pepper because it's so cute and lumpy. And that's really what I wanted to draw when I saw this picture. So something like that. I don't know. Something like that. Right here. Right there. Okay, she's really lumpy. I really like that eggplant, but I can't really fit it here. So if I want to put it in there, I think I have to move it. I think I'm gonna move it over here. So now I'm just using my imagination, but I wanted to give it a little bit more space. So I'm gonna try to put it here and just kind of wing it. Eggplant. I really want that tomato, but it's in the back. Oh, I haven't changed my picture. Come on, Erica. Get it together. Here we go. Let's take off the wheelbarrow. There we go. There. So this is what I'm drawing right now. And I'm going to put this tomato back here. So since I'm moving them all around, like I'm just trying to like consider how I can place them so that I'm still like, you can kind of make up some of the stuff. I mean, it's not a lot of stuff that would be missing, whatever's cropped off. But I kind of placed it in a way so that I really don't have to make up that part. Like I'm still missing that little corner and I just put it in a place where it lands missing that little corner. It would be nice if I put something right there, but I don't know what that would be. So let me just start by adding some color here. This tomato looks very, very ripe and juicy and perfect. I really want to grow tomatoes this year. I don't know. Is everybody seeing a tomato shortage everywhere you all are? Like I go to the grocery store and there's like no tomatoes right now, and I don't know. I'm just like, well, maybe I should start growing them myself. I mean, they're not that hard to grow, I think, especially because we have a lot of sun here. But let's see. Okay, I definitely need more pink. And I'm going to leave a little bit of white there, which would be for the light. Maybe a little bit more. I don't have white out, but I could use some white if I wanted to add some like highlights. That's not speaking to me yet. But it might be soon. We'll see. And I had this other pink, so I'm going to bring that pink out and see if I can use that as kind of like the mid-tone. Not yet, but you think you will. Yeah. We're seeing that. Oh, I'm seeing that a lot here, and it's crazy because it's just not something that we've ever had happen. It's just so crazy to me. Okay. Let's do some of the greens. Really try to make some of these look like they're in the front. Make some of them look like they're in the back. There. And I'll do some of the darker ones too. And there is a lot of dark in here, so I could probably use some of that blue as well. And again, when I'm using like a limited color palette like this, I try to distribute all the colors throughout so there doesn't feel like there's an area that's missing something. So I will definitely put a little bit of blue in here. At least, if for no other reason, it will help it to tie together visually. Okay, let's try some of that blue. Put some right here, put a little bit in here. There. You tie some of that together. I'll even put a little bit down here at the bottom where I think it needs a little bit of darkness. Yeah, okay. We're gonna use the same colors for eggplant and for the green pepper. So we're gonna try to be creative and resourceful. Like, where are we gonna put these colors? How are we gonna make sure that it's reading as that kind of like, you know, three-dimensional form? I don't know. We'll see. Right here. A little bit back here. It's a lot of light on that one. Why do I keep getting the fine tip? It's so not my favorite. Okay, I'm gonna leave that like that. And then we're gonna do this. Oh, I've been drawing the wrong eggplant. I was like, that's not even the eggplant I was drawing. So I was like, oh, that's perfect. I kind of have the perfect colors, but it's like, bro, that's not the eggplant that you were drawing. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stick with it. So I am going to treat it similar. I'm using that one on the bottom as reference just for like the, you know, shape. But I'm going to maybe do a little bit of that light blue. That should be a good option, I think. Let's see. We'll see what happens. I'm just going to stack it right on top and see how the colors come together for this. I don't know. Maybe some of that dark one too. It's kind of an odd pairing. Grab a pin here. You know, what do you call this? A clip, because my paper is just kind of. That's the downside of using like the cheapy paper, which is what this sketchbook is. It's definitely, you know, acting like cheapy paper right now. There, a little bit of that. Okay, and then I'll do the green pepper, and then we'll see if we need to do other colors on the eggplant just to make sure that it stands out on its own and we can see it and we can see the edges. I do like that I started with that pink sketch there. I'm going to take the mid-tone. I don't want fine tip. I want only brush tips. Ooh, there's like a lot of like reflected light on that one. I don't know if I should put that in because it has a lot of red in it for the tomatoes that are next to the pepper, but in my drawing there's not going to be a tomato there, so I don't know if I should bother putting it in. Probably not. I do like it though. Can do some. I was definitely concerned about that edge there and making sure that the two objects like separate. So let's see how we build it. That's gonna need to be darker. I'm just gonna make it darker. Get into that little nook. Let's see. Okay. We got a lot of green here around the edges. I'm going to use a little bit of line just to help kind of define those areas. You're still on the radishes, but I think they're going to be probably the most beautiful radishes because if I know how you draw. You're just taking your time because you want to make them beautiful. And I cannot wait to see them. I bet they're going to be amazing. Brush. There. You can see mine are just like ragged. Ragged shapes. Okay, I'm going to do some of this blue. That's really going to help, you know, darken the little parts that need to feel a little bit darker. I don't know, maybe not that much here, but like a little bit on the edge, possibly. Right there. Okay, there's a little bit there. I'm going to do a little bit here just to find that edge. A little bit on the tomato. I do think that since I just kind of spread them out, I need like a shadow of some sort. So I'm just going to make it up. This shadow does not exist, but I'm going to put it in there because I just need to sit them on the table or something. They're not sitting on anything, and I do feel like they need to. So I'm just going to put that just so they feel like planted. Okay, so we have these. Let me see. Is there anything else I want to draw on here? Some nice little herbs there. The radishes were definitely the most fun, I think. I do like to put a little bit of text in, so I think I'm going to do a little bit of lettering and maybe something here like, what could I write here? Like veggie garden or something. I do love playing with font, so we do. Should have given this a little more thought before I started. Just like, we'll see what happens. We'll see what comes of it. And I would like to play with the lettering. I also got a pencil. I brought a color pencil because I thought I could possibly do a little, you know, a little line work, a little detail work with the pencil, but I'm also open to not doing that. We'll see. Those serifs were off. There. Those serifs are definitely off, but it's okay. Be this right there. I think that's what you normally would do. Huh. Okay. I just like a little contrast. Love a shadow on a letter. A little too much. Okay. So we are rounding off our year. I'm so excited, you guys. Summer's almost here. Summer break, I should say. I also haven't used this in a while, my little stamp. The last time I used this was April 22nd. So almost a month ago. So let's get this baby, bring it back out. Today's the 19th, yes, okay. So I'm just going to put my little stamp over here. I usually like it on the bottom, right? I do like that it goes over things right there. And then I'm going to put a couple other little notes here because I like it. I mean, is it necessary? No. I have that brown pencil, but probably shouldn't use that. I'm going to use this black pen. I just like to put a few little notes. This is going to be our garden, veggie garden live stream. Sometimes I like to like outline things But I'm not sure if I'm feeling that today. Maybe this could use a little bit of an outline because it's a little funky. It's a little hard to make out. Here's my white, so I might just go ahead and make that feel like it's in front there. Yeah, I feel like I don't even want to add too much black because then it just feels like I'm adding another color and then I have to blend it in or like make everything feel like it belongs together. Let me do a couple little embellishments, unnecessary embellishments. There we go. Does it? Thank you. Let me show it to you. This page is a little wobbly, but I'll put this little clippy right here. So radishes are easily my favorite part. That was the most fun to draw. And then the beans were definitely the hardest, the hardest part to draw. Could probably use a little bit of something up here to help define that edge there. But I do love the choice of like the pinks for the tomato, right? And for the radishes even. I feel like it's fun to kind of use a color that maybe isn't that expected. And I feel like that's like a really fun part of it. So I like that. Maybe I'll do a little. Just bringing those colors out again. Okay. So yeah, that kind of wraps up my drawing. Let me get the camera a little closer. Maybe you'll be able to see it a little better. Will that work? There you go. It's a little closer, right? So I just put all those little images together. I really like this kind of sketchbook spread. Like I haven't done this in a long time, but it's fun to just kind of like doodle and see where everything goes. And it's just a little like exercise, right? In like figuring out how you're using your colors and figuring out how you're combining your material, like even how you stack them. And then also, how do you build your compositions? And that's always been a really hard part of art making for me is compositional planning. Like it's just a struggle for me always and will probably always be a struggle for me. So this is like me just thinking about size and shape and scale and the way that like objects lead into other things. So placement really factors in as well. So it's a really fun, like low pressure exercise. Thank you so much, Sarah. That's so nice of you. So I really enjoyed drawing this. I hope you guys were able to do a little bit of drawing too. I mean, this kind of process is fun if you want to get into a sketchbook practice and just need something like low pressure that you can do. Like these are, relatively quick. And if you make mistakes, like it's not a big deal. Just go on, move on to another page, do a different one. Sometimes when I have a lot of trouble with some objects, some things are harder for me to draw than others. Like I just try it again. I always tell myself that when I struggle with something and I feel like I'm having trouble with it, that just means I need to practice more. So I try to do that. I try to implement that, even if it's sometimes, hard. But thank you guys so much for being here. I don't know if anybody else did drawings, but if you did, I would love to see them. I'm going to post this on Patreon, just a little close-up so you can see how everything really looks up close. And I will definitely share like the replay. This will be available for replay immediately afterwards. Hi, Kirby. Oh, I can't wait to see you're not rusty. I can't even believe it because you draw so much, but I'm so glad that you were here and I can't wait to see what you draw. I hope you'll share it on Instagram and I'll hopefully see it there. So it was so nice to spend some time with you guys tonight. I hope you guys had fun and I look forward to painting with you again next week. We're doing another live stream for the end of the week, the end of the month. It's on the 26th at 8 p.m. So hopefully you can join me then too, and we can just draw together. I hope you guys have a great night. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to put them on the Patreon post, and I will try my best to answer them as quickly as I can. You guys have a great one. Take care, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys.